can't believe it's already October. I'm really happy that fall's finally here. But truthfully, it doesn't really feel like fall here yet. Recently, we've been back at mid-80s, high 80s. So I haven't really been able to get that feeling of fall in terms of sweater. But we do have all the fall leaves changing, and I really need to go back out and get to see those. I can see them from my house on the mountains, but I haven't really gone and seen the really pretty colors yet. But October is, as most people call it, the spooky month. I'm not really into Halloween, and that's mostly because I am so easily scared. I mean, I hate being scared, but I am very easily scared. And that can be, shown through when I was a little kid, okay? When I went trick-or-treating with my family, I would send up my younger brother, my little brother, up to houses I deemed scary to go get candy for me, which, honestly, thinking back, probably weren't actually scary houses, but they scared me. And then any of those bowls that had the hands that would grab you, I wouldn't grab candy from those. I would tell my little brother to grab me a piece, and that's how it would went. So I stopped trick-or-treating pretty early on, actually. And I just don't really get into this season much because I don't go to haunted houses or watch horror movies or anything like that. But since it is the spooky season, I decided that I would, in the very least, try to make my journal match that sort of vibe. So I did my very, very best to find items that I had that had this sort of kind of spooky feel. I wanted it to feel kind of eerie rather than actually scary or anything like that. But I wanted to still have the fall colors. So this month I chose lots of blacks, deep oranges, reds, thrown in I think a few purple and greens in there as well. My kind of plan for Halloween, or what I usually do anyway, is I watch Scooby-Doo. See, Scooby-Doo is sort of my version of Halloween. People dressed up in masks and pretending to be monsters, but it is the least scary possible thing I can think of to watch that still fits into that sort of trick-or-treat fun kind of feel. So that's what I usually end up watching. I don't really do much else. My family doesn't. We live in this kind of cul-de-sac where we call it a circle, but we live in one that isn't really attached to a neighborhood, which means we don't get kids coming to our house. We don't get trick-or-treaters, which just means that we really don't get candy either unless we buy it ourselves. So we end up just watching some movies with candy that we've bought for ourselves, or we make caramel popcorn or just normal popcorn. But that's kind of what I do for Halloween. So I'm kind of just looking forward to the peaceful things. I'm more of a November sort of fall person, though I do wish we got fall colors a little bit more towards that past the Halloween, so that I could have that while we have all the gentle and just peaceful fall, instead of also celebrating all of the fear factor sort of stuff, because then we have all the houses that have all the spiders on them and that kind of stuff. But I am super looking forward to November this year, largely in part because I have a lot of things planned for that time for myself, a lot of fun things, and I'm having a project that I'm going to be starting on for that as well. Now it's gonna feel a little weird that I'm mentioning this project because it's actually a Christmas project, but knowing me, it's gonna take so long to get it completed that I'm starting it so early. I, raided my mom's scrapbook things so that I could find these little bats. They're kind of sparkly, but I thought they felt right for Halloween in my spooky, not spooky sort of way. But I'm really happy with how this spread turned out. It looks so good. It is so not my color scheme, so not what I usually do. But it was really fun to make, and it turned out, I think, really well, other than the fact that the pen smeared. I thought for sure it was dry. These are even like quick drying pens, and I am just like so sad that it just smeared. So I, after this page, got extra careful with making sure that didn't happen again. But I'm a little sad that it's like that. And I can't fix it with whiteout or anything because the page itself is actually sort of a cream rather than a white. So whiteout would just stand out really, really bad on it. So I have to just leave it, and it's so hard on me. It's so hard to just leave that when I want nothing more than to fix it. But this next picture is actually sort of so creepy to me. I don't even know why I have it or where it came from either, which is also sort of disturbing. I think it may have come in a pack of my other postcards, but it doesn't really match the vibe of any of the other postcards I have. So I don't know what it could have come with. But, it worked out well for this, so I guess that's good, right? That being said, though, it's just so creepy to me. October is kind of a boring month for me, to be honest, this year. I don't have much planned for October. I think that my family is going to go to a pumpkin patch or like a fall festival thing, but we'll see if that ever happens. As of lately, the last couple of years, we've said that we were gonna go to one, and then we didn't end up going to them, and then we end up just running to Walmart like 3 days before Halloween so that we can carve pumpkins. I really hope that isn't something that happens this year. I really would like to go to a pumpkin patch and really have the fall festival sort of feel with corn maze and hay bale rides and the apple ciders, drinks and donuts. Though personally, I don't really like apple cider. I don't like apples. Is that weird? To me, they're just, I don't know, too sweet or too juicy. I'm not really sure how I feel about them or why I dislike them, but I do. So apple juice is something I have very rarely. In fact, anything other than water is something I have very rarely. I am on the desperate search of things other than water to drink because it just gets kind of boring to have water all the time. But the only other things that I've, come to kind of like are chocolate milk and strawberry milk, which is also really funny because I don't like milk. I don't like the taste of milk, so as long as there's chocolate or strawberry in it, I guess I'm fine. But normal milk is not very good to me. Recently, though, I have started drinking a few things with carbonation in it. I met my friends a couple of years ago, and they drink a bunch of sparkling apple cider, and so I started doing activities and things with them, so I started drinking that, and now I've just sort of gotten used to the carbonation again. I used to drink soda when I was younger. Didn't really like the taste of soda or the carbonation or anything, but we stopped getting it at some point, and then I just couldn't drink it at all. So after I met my friends and started drinking the sparkling apple cider, then I've kind of just adapted to being able to drink carbonation again. And especially since after that I was like, well, we'll do other activities. So we did things with like mocktails and things like that. So we used a lot of carbonated things to make those. So now I've just kind of adapted that into my life, and I started having like carbonated flavored waters. And I'm still searching for ones that I really, really like, but honestly, they're not really good. It's more just like I am desperate to have something else to drink besides water. So I'm kind of trying my best to find things to like. And as a very picky person, both in what I eat and what I drink and just all of that, it's been a struggle, to say the least. But I'm working on it, and if anyone has recommendations, that would be fantastic. I don't drink coffee or tea or alcohol, so those are sort of out of the mix. But anything else I would consider definitely trying, if only for the sake of finally having something else. But water's fine. Water's okay too. I'm not upset at water. I'm just sort of bored of water. This spread is actually one of my favorites, and that's just because it has such a eerie vibe. Like, nothing inherently really says, this is scary or anything, or creepy or anything, but it has this such solemn, deep feel to it that I'm in love with this one. Like, this one feels somehow me, while also definitely not being me, but that's totally okay. You may have also noticed I have a ruler this time instead of another piece of paper to draw straight lines with. I personally don't have a ruler, so I went to my artist brother and went, you have any rulers I could use? Because I don't, and I would really, 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 really like one. So he had this one, which is a little short one, and then he had a really long one, and he gave me both of them. And they worked so well, and I am so happy that he had one for me to use, because they were a whole lot easier to see and to line things up right than a piece of paper. It also prevented a lot less of that steering off course that tends to happen when you use just paper. This spread it's the one that feels slightly off to me, And it might be because I didn't make things even, or maybe the colors are slightly off or something, but it just still doesn't feel quite right. But I'm leaving it, mostly because I don't even know where to start on how to make it feel right. So it is as it is, and that's fine. Notice a lot of these postcards have sayings at the bottom or somewhere on them. Wherever I got them from, they're very clearly translated from another language, because they do not make sense. So many of them honestly are just sort of laughable, like you read them, and they definitely, I don't even know what they were trying to say. They're so confusing and just best to be covered up or ignored. But I have these other quotes that are stickers that also aren't really much better. So I did the best I could to find ones that were not only the right size, but also at least kinda made sense. Do they make sense? Probably not. But they're not the worst they could be, you know? Quotes are one of my favorite ways to journal, though. I'm not big on writing my own thoughts, and that's just because I'm not particularly good at it. I'm barely good at talking, so writing isn't really good either. I have a very small vocabulary compared to my younger brother, and this is just one of those things that I'm like, if someone else has said something that I like, then I'm just gonna put that down. It's gonna act as inspiration and help me to visualize what I was thinking or trying to think while I was making this sort of image or page. Now this one, you can tell, has been planned out a little bit more, and that's because I knew there was something I wanted to do. I wanted this sort of clothesline look to this one, but that also meant that I needed to have a certain amount of pictures, and it was really hard to find spooky-esque pictures in all of my stuff of pink and blue and pop arty pink fluff kind of stuff. I have very girly, very feminine stickers and things. So for me, this was like counting. I was trying to get to that many. I knew I needed 7 of them, so it was desperately searching for what could or maybe could or could pretend was spooky. So this one ended up being a lot of what looks like dried things. I wanted flowers that looked like they were, dying, and, branches of trees in these deep kind of basic colors. I wanted things dusty, nothing too rich, and I feel like it worked out pretty well. It sort of feels like a transition one, where part of it is just a basic calm fall, and the other is this sort of spooky decay, death sort of thing, but in the least spooky way possible, I really tried on this, but I don't have a lot of things that are scary, and I didn't want it to feel too scary. I'm gonna have to use this for the entire month of October, which meant that I needed something that I could look at constantly and not something I never wanted to look at again. So here we are. This one is actually also one of my favorite pages, because to me this is just fall pretending to be spooky. It has very calm orange colors, sort of wheat field sort of vibe, and I love it. It feels very calm to me and isn't overwhelming or too dark or too scary or creepy or anything. But I love especially the corner, the bottom corner, that it just has the fall to me. It just says fall to me, and I am very happy about that. A while back, I was just thinking how much I wanted it to be fall. I wanted it to be cool, and I wanted to be able to wear sweaters, and I wanted the fall colors and the leaves to be on the ground, and just that sort of feeling of change. But I also love how as soon as fall hits, you want it to be winter, and you want it to be Christmas, and you want it to be something else. And it is such that grass is greener on the other side. We're always looking for something else. We're always looking something better or different instead of just being happy with where we are. And I'm going to try really hard to enjoy my October and not get too caught up or excited for November and for December and for other holidays, and to let myself really enjoy this time. Now this sticker specifically is something I really want to address. This one was designed by my older brother. My brother is an amazing artist. He's so good at drawing a myriad of different characters and has different styles and everything, but he is so good at art, and so recently he started taking his art and turning it into stickers that he just buys for himself, and he always gives me some. But I think they are so good, and so if you think this is amazing, then you should definitely check out him on Instagram and message him and let him know, and leave a bunch of comments in my video saying that you would buy his stickers or that his art is amazing, so that I can show him and that he can get his boost of confidence and hopefully start selling the stickers like I really think he should. But I think this one was especially perfect for fall and just that sort of feel. So my goal page, I decided to steer a little bit away from the spooky and just embrace the fall, so that I could keep track of what I wanted to here. So this page is all for my goals, which also happen all to start with an S. I'm keeping track of my sleep, because recently I've gotten really, really, really bad at going to bed very late or staying in very late and not getting up early, and so I'm trying to get better at that. So I'm going to keep track of how many hours I sleep, and I'm going to try to keep it within the 7, because honestly I do just fine on 7, and whenever I try I need 8 hours of sleep, then I end up getting more like 14. The second is stretching. I am keeping track of when I stretch. I want to stretch at least once a day, and I've made a goal to do that, but I'm going to just keep track on whether or not I did, and if it was in the morning or the evening. Great if I do it both days, but really the most important thing is just that I had done it that day. Whether that means I have time to do it in the morning or time to do it in the evening doesn't really matter to me, as long as it's done. The last is scripture study. For me especially, this is very, very important that I stay on track and do this every day, because I am doing my very best to read the Book of Mormon like 4 times before Christmas, because it's part of some gifts that I'm doing, which means that I need to read it a lot. I have to read about 10 chapters every day, some days even more, and I can't get behind, so it's very important that I read every day. So I'm keeping track of that so that I know when I've missed days and how many I'm going to have to catch up on if I do, because I know I'm not going to be perfect at it. It's really hard to keep doing that every single day, reading so much and being able to focus on it for that long, because it's almost a whole hour and a half for me, because I really struggle with reading it and focusing on the words. I get distracted very easily. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to work really hard at getting that done for myself. But those are the only 3 things that I'm going to keep track of in regards of my goals. The rest are just sort of personal and overall general goals for myself. And I find it hard to write them out and keep track of them. So I'm just sort of having some mental ones that I'm working on for myself in terms of getting better and everything like that. But that is everything that I have for this. I am so happy with how all the pages turned out. I think they look so good. This is definitely outside of my general style, but I think it really fits the month of October, and I can easily see myself flipping through and putting things that I need to do in each month and each week. And I really am going to try to use all the pages and do better than I probably did even last month. Admittedly, I didn't do the best, but I did use it, just not as often as like. So this month, we're going to try to use it even more than last month, and hopefully we'll just kind of grow the habit. But I really hope you enjoyed watching this, and that I'll get to see you guys again. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!